Starting strong with knock off the chip and strip Ogre Pommel-Spring's item, this early pressure could force a key switch or weaken their setup options before the real fight begins. Knockoff here is a smart opening pressure move, chipping Ogre Pawn Wellspring and threatening to strip its item early, which could seriously limit its durability or utility down the line. Great Tusk just fainted, so switching to Dragapult resets pressure and preserves our last healthy piece. This is a critical pivot to keep the numbers edge against Ogre Pawn Wellspring. Good call using U-turn here, picking up super effective damage on Ogre Pawn Wellspring while keeping Dragapult's momentum and positioning intact for the next play. U-turn here keeps the pressure on Ogre Pawn Wellspring while preserving Dragapult's momentum. This exchange could seal the tempo advantage in a 5-1 endgame. Switching to Goldingo here is a sharp reset to maintain pressure on Jirachi. This move keeps the numbers edge and sets up the next sequence that could decide the whole game. Shadow Ball here is a clean pressure play, aiming to chunk Jirachi hard and keep the numbers edge in this critical endgame sequence. Landing this super effective Shadow Ball on Jirachi ramps up pressure and keeps the numbers advantage intact. This exchange could tilt the endgame hard in our favor. Going hard with Make It Rain here to apply pressure on Great Tusk, while I still have the speed edge, this exchange could really tip the mid-game balance. Golding goes down, so this switch to Ogre Pawn Wellspring is all about resetting pressure and preserving our edge against a full health Great Tusk. This mid-game pivot could make or break the plan. Going for a super effective IV Cudgel here is the right call. This mid-game exchange around Great Tusk could shift the numbers edge sharply in our favor. Using U-turn to chip with super effective pressure and pivot out while keeping the speed edge, this mid-game exchange around Ogre Pawn Wellspring is about positioning and maintaining the numbers advantage. That U-turn hits super effective and keeps pressure while setting up a favorable switch. This mid-game pivot could tighten control over the board and start swinging momentum our way. Switching to Dragapult here is a smart reset play. It's about regaining pressure and setting up the crucial next exchange around Ogre Pawn Wellspring before the endgame really tightens. Switching to King Ambit to reset pressure and preserve our pieces here feels crucial. This low HP mid-game moment demands caution, and this pivot could keep our plan alive against Ogre Pawn Wellspring's threat. Going for Kowtow Cleave here feels like the sharp pivot this mid-game needed, nailing Ogre Pawn Wellspring at low HP to force a critical response and steer the closing sequence on my terms. Ironhead here is a calculated poke to chip Great Tusk under pressure, sharpening my edge for the next big clash around this key pivot. King Ambit goes down, so switching to Ogre Pawn Wellspring to reset pressure and preserve our last bulky piece against Great Tusk's threat. Going for a strong, super effective hit on Great Tusk here, this is the pressure play that could force a critical response and shape the endgame momentum. This is the crucial strike to pressure Cerulege while keeping Ogerpon healthy. It's all about chipping down that key threat before the final clash. U-turning here deals solid, super effective damage and lets me pivot out to keep the pressure on, crucial with so few pieces left and the endgame tightening around Ogerpon Wellspring. U-turn here is a sharp call, picking up strong, super effective damage while pivoting to keep offensive pressure and avoid getting worn down in this crucial endgame exchange. Rotom Wash comes in to reset pressure against Kyurem. This switch is all about preserving tempo and setting up the crucial endgame fight. Volt Switch here is a smart move to chip Kyurem while keeping Rotom W safe. This pivot keeps pressure on without overcommitting in a tense 2v4 endgame. Switching in Ogerpon Wellspring to reset pressure and preserve Rotom Wash feels necessary here. Rotom's too low to stay, and this might buy the time needed to handle Kyurem's threat. U-turn here is smart. Chip Kyurem while switching to a better matchup, trying to keep pressure without overcommitting in this tight 2v4 endgame. Switching to Rotom Wash here is a reset to pressure. Despite its low HP, it's the best shot at handling Kyurem and keeping the plan alive with only 2 pieces left. Switching to Ogerpon Wellspring to reset pressure and preserve the last healthy piece, this is the pivot turn that keeps the plan alive against Kyurem's mid HP. U-turn here is a smart pivot, trying to keep momentum and avoid trading Ogerpon too cheaply against Kyurem's half health, especially with just one Pokemon left.